Welcome to The Explainer. I'll be your mentor today for a hands-on implementation lab covering the massive architectural shift that hit software development in late May 2026. We are skipping the theory today. We're booting up the terminal and diving straight into build, configure, and execute. Let's get started. Here is our roadmap for the lab. We'll start with Welcome to the Sandbox, then move systematically through three modules: Claude Dynamic Workflows, Cursor Auto Review Run, and Notion Serverless Workers. Finally, we'll wrap up with the Automation Mandate to demystify the deployment of these frontier AI systems.
All right, Module 1. Welcome to the Sandbox, the autonomous baseline.
Think about legacy AI for a second. We all remember being completely exhausted by constant approval prompts, right? We were dealing with isolated bots that would just silently inject a logic flaw and totally nuke their own context windows. Well, we've shifted baselines. We are no longer just optimizing for raw speed. The new standard is fully autonomous long-horizon operational agents. We are talking rigorous execution safety, verifiable deterministic routing, and seriously robust state management. Moving right along to Lab 1 Claude Dynamic Workflows, focusing specifically on the Anthropic Opus 4.8 integration. Before we start writing any code, we have to understand how Opus 4.8 absolutely shatters the old linear execution bottleneck. Instead of a single agent building an isolated, fragile mental model, this dynamic workflow system actively plans and automatically fans workloads out across tens, sometimes hundreds of parallel subagents. And the real secret sauce here? Strict adversarial verification. It's essentially a built-in peer review. Independent subagents actively try to break the generated code before it's ever even presented to you. It makes the system 4 times less likely to ignore its own flaws. Let's actually configure our deployment pipeline in the Claude Code command line environment. It's pretty straightforward. You initialize your environment right in the target repository root, enable auto mode so the client has file permissions without you constantly having to hit approve, and then, this is the critical control mechanism, you configure your effort level before finally initiating the task. Right there in your CLI, you have to explicitly set this parameter. Running /effort ultra code is where the magic happens. You're shifting from telling the system how to do every little thing to giving it a high-level intent. Once you punch this in, the system autonomously handles that massive fan-out strategy to all those parallel subagents. And honestly, the real-world results are just staggering. To put this into perspective, an 11-day project that involved porting 750,000 lines of the Bun JavaScript runtime over to Rust achieved a 99.8% pass rate. And that was virtually without any human intervention. Think about that. That is literally a multi-quarter legacy migration project compressed into one single automated sprint. Insane. Okay, let's clear the terminal and spin up Lab 2 Cursor Auto Review Run, focusing on multi-repo automations. This configuration focuses on the Cursor 3.6 update. You know the old legacy pain point? You either suffered severe approval prompt fatigue, manually authorizing every single shell command, or you just handed over root terminal access and prayed the agent didn't accidentally delete your entire database. Auto Review Run Mode fixes this entirely. It uses a deterministic triage system for all agent actions, giving you multi-tiered security so the agents can run continuously while actually mitigating those terrifying execution risks. So, when the primary coding agent tries to execute an action, it has to pass through 3 distinct hierarchical gateways. First, it hits your explicit allow list. If it doesn't pass that, it's routed into a highly restrictive OS-level sandbox. And if it can't be sandboxed safely, the request gets passed to a dedicated classifier subagent to dynamically evaluate the risk. It ensures absolute security with 0 manual approval. To get this running in our own developer sandbox, it's a quick 3-step setup for repository-level permissions. First, enable auto review globally in your IDE settings, but the real control is completely local. Step 2, you create a local .cursor/permissions.json file. And step 3, define your allow and block instruction arrays right inside that file. Now, when you're working inside that permissions JSON file, you aren't writing complex regex patterns. You're actually just writing natural language directives. You write out in plain text exactly what the agent is allowed or blocked from doing. The classifier subagent interprets that semantically in real time. It's basically a localized, highly intelligent firewall built specifically for that project. Once your permissions matrix is completely locked in, you just execute /auto-review-commit. That single slash command lets the agent analyze your directory, run unit tests securely in the sandbox, and draft pull requests all without a single human intervention. If the agent hallucinates, it's not a catastrophic data loss anymore. It just safely re-executes the step inside the sandbox.
All right, on to our final module, Lab 3, Notion Serverless Workers and the Connective Compute Layer.
Here, we are completely eliminating the enterprise requirement for complex, brittle middleware routing. I mean, why on earth would you spread your API keys across a bunch of fragmented third-party solutions like Zapier? That just introduces severe latency and massive security risks. Instead, Notion Workers gives you a robust, hosted, serverless Node and TypeScript runtime environment directly on Notion's infrastructure via the Vercel sandbox.
The deployment pipeline here is incredibly developer-centric. You stay right in your local terminal. You install the end-to-end CLI and authenticate, securely set your environment variables, define your TypeScript primitives in your source index file, and finally, deploy.
Let's break down exactly why this code hums. You use specific TypeScript primitives to safely set your operational logic and boundaries. For example, worker.pacer is your internal rate limiting. It literally stops you from hitting restrictive external API throttling. Worker.database manages schema syncing. Worker.sync handles automated polling. And crucially, Worker.tool exposes your custom internal functions so that LLMs can actually call them conversationally. Once your TypeScript logic is fully vetted, pushing it to that Vercel-backed infrastructure is just one clean CLI execution, npm workers deploy. Plus, you can run local dry runs beforehand, ensuring there's zero risk of corrupting a live production database. Let's talk cost efficiency really quick. Starting August 11, 2026, execution consumes Notion credits priced at a baseline of just $10 per 1,000 computational units. That drastically undercuts traditional dedicated middleware. But a quick warning, without hard architectural spend caps currently in place, engineering teams absolutely must maintain precise computational discipline in their code, or you're going to face some runaway costs. Wrapping things up with the automation mandate, shifting the paradigm left. Having walked through the setups for Claude, Cursor, and Notion, we can clearly see the overarching automation mandate for enterprise operations. We need to transition our security postures aggressively leftward, right into the IDE. We're shifting from fixed per-seat licenses to compute-metered task allocations. And we're architecting systems where AI isn't just an add-on, but the central, driving, connective tissue. We aren't just vetting NPM packages anymore. We are actively governing the operational interaction layer between the highly capable AI operator and the proprietary repository itself. The underlying research sums this up perfectly. Competitive operational velocity now depends entirely on the speed and safety at which an organization can confidently delegate operational autonomy to these advanced systems. Core intelligence, it's a commoditized utility now. The real differentiator is operational trust. It is all about how safely and quickly your organization can adapt to this completely new paradigm. So I leave you with this crucial technical challenge to ponder as you step back to your own developer sandbox. Are you still manually approving every step, or are you ready to delegate true operational autonomy to your systems? It's time to shift left, build the sandbox, and let the agents run.